Hey y'all, I'm Shayna and I'm back with another review. This is for Bel-Air. I don't even know what episode or nothing. This is season 2 and this is a reunion episode. I'll just go ahead and say that. Now, I just got done watching. It's late. Like, I gotta work in the morning. But I wanted to come and bring this to y'all because this reunion episode, there was a whole lot of moving parts and I didn't take any notes. So if I forgot something, leave it down in the comments. If you're new here or if you're not, definitely if you enjoy the video, check out my other content, like, comment, share with a friend, and be sure to subscribe because this is a growing channel and I'm trying to get to a certain goal. I need y'all help. So definitely subscribe if you enjoy. There's plenty more reviews coming. Normally I'm more organized, but today we going rogue, we winging it, we just going off the top, okay? We gonna have a conversation. So y'all know last week Jeffrey said, he told Aunt Viv, the reunion coming. So they kind of set it up for this episode. So this episode starts, I don't even know what it starts with. Let's just go with person by person. Hilary. Now we know LaMarcus, her football player, fine ex-boyfriend. He came there to help her out because she was trying to grow her followers to get that Simply Lemonade, that sparkling spiked lemonade deal, and she got it with his help. Like she's like, she had to, spin the block one time to get him to come so she can get to her goal, and she reached that. So, but Jazz wasn't feeling it. He was caught off guard. She didn't even give him a heads up. She did say, like, look, this is my man, my man, my man. But Jazz felt the way, and he been ghosting her, giving her the cold shoulder. I thought that was really immature. I would have preferred if he just told her how he felt and they had a conversation about it instead of him ignoring her like, a little boy. So, but I mean, I understand why he fell away. It's just the way he handled it. So she texting him nonstop. She inviting him to the family reunion. Later on, we know like her dad was real competitive with his brother. That's an ongoing thing, and we gonna get there, okay? But her dad invited LaMarcus, and he like, well, you invited him to the art show, so I thought it was good. Like, I got a flag football competition. He's a professional football player. I had to make the call. LaMarcus coming there, everybody like, I know that ain't LaMarcus. Come here, boy, give me my hug. And he talking about, hey, grandma. How long was they together? Like we need to build this character. I need a little bit more background because what was going on here? It sounded like she did say a couple episodes back that they wanted her to marry LaMarcus. And then it's like, oh, you had them all around the family and everything. Hilary, don't block your blessing now. I mean, I like Jazz and everything, but LaMarcus fine. He a professional athlete. You an influencer. He tall, she tall. It's aesthetically, it's just giving what it needs to give for me. But she like, no, she worried about Jazz. She pulled him to the side like, I don't know what you're trying to do here, but, you say hi to grandma and them, but I got a man. And he like, well, why your man ain't here? And she couldn't answer the question. Jazz done basically pushed her back into that man's arms, if you ask me. So he ends up telling, like, before they start playing flag football, LaMarcus ends up telling Will, they talking about sports and whatever. And then he ended up telling him, like, look, I'm here to get your cousin back. Like, I'm playing my role in the friend zone right now, but I gotta go. Like, I'm letting her get comfortable, but I ain't letting up until I get her back. Like, I want her and I'm gonna get her. And he probably gonna marry her too. Will, like, I don't want to be in the middle of it. Jazz his friend, like he want to stay out of it. Like, whoa, don't even tell me. I don't want to know. Keep me out of it. And that's kind of where the episode ends. Now, we ain't done yet, but the episode ends with her still texting Jazz all day. Hilary, you too fine to be chasing behind a man. I mean, if he want to act this petty to the point where he can't have a conversation with you, listen, it's nothing more I can do. I don't have nothing else to give. But I guess she was texting, seeing if she could come over. And she's sitting there. LaMarcus like, oh, well, here you are. Like, I'm looking all over for you. Nobody else even noticed she was gone. But he like, everybody outside having fun. Come on. So she holding his hand. He pulled her outside. And she left her phone on the table. And Jazz is like, yeah, come through. I'll leave my door unlocked. That's where it ended. So I know next week, I feel like Jazz going to pull up, see them together. He's going to be like, he at the family reunion too. Like, what the... Yeah. That ain't looking too good, especially because he's Will's friend. It's real messy. She didn't even realize, though. She was oblivious. Like, she was like, oh, it's a problem that he was there? Like, I didn't think it was an issue. Like, yeah, it was a problem because if it was the other way around, how would you have felt? If he didn't tell you that he did that, and you just walk in, you find out Beyonce his ex, and you like, well, hold up, and the whole family just loving her, they taking family pics, you gonna feel away. So Ashley, we know she got a little small role this episode, but she does have a role that makes an impact. So they said everybody has a role. Hilary, she baking, like she even baked her dad's sweet potato pie for the sweet potato pie competition. But he won't perpetrate, act like he baked it, but she baked it, of course. So they was like, well, Ashley, what's your role? And she was like, I gotta, pay attention to the elders, make sure they don't, eat too much fried food and have too much sugar and all that. So there's an uncle. He got an attitude. He don't want to talk. And Ashley's like, okay, what's his problem? And Hillary was like, she pulled her to the side. She's like, don't worry about, Unc. He always like that. And she was like, always rude. And she was like, look, if you give him enough time, when he started talking, he got a lot of stories to tell. Like, he'll come around. So she won't let up. She bringing him food. She's sitting there with him like you want to talk to me. And she liked to dig into her history and, pick people brains and get, knowledge and things like that. So he eventually comes around. He likes her and he tells her that he's a Tuskegee Airman. Has a picture and, it was really like they had a bonding moment. And later on, they end up giving Uncle an award just a recognition because they like, we have lineage in our family and we need to start recognizing that. And so they make him feel good. Everybody makes him feel loved. And we know Ashley was behind that. Moving on, Jeffrey. That we know Jeffrey was looking for his son Frederick. And so he came clean. He told Uncle Phil and Viv, like, look, I got to come clean. And they was like, we know you've been looking for Frederick. But I'm like, how much does Uncle Phil still got that camera in his office? Because everybody having conversations in there. But they like, we know. I don't like that they always trying to like keep people away from their family. Like, what is that about? But I guess they feel like it's the right thing to do because they love them. And they was like, look, it was like, we know that decision is yours. Ultimately, if you want to find him, it's up to you. But we got something for you. It was a picture of him. He's a grown man. So I thought he was like a young child. He ain't no little boy, he full grown. So he was looking at it like he was in Uncle Phil's office looking at it. Will walked in and he like, gee, like, I don't want to be the only non-banks here. Like, where you at? Like, you supposed to be my support system. Like, I need you out there. And so nosy Jeffrey was like, all right, I'll be there. Don't worry, I got your back. I'm gonna explain to you who everybody is, give you everybody's name. I got you. So he leave him in the office, and the folders there that he was looking at with Frederick's information. And I feel like maybe he did that on purpose so Will could look, because he nosy like that. So he look. So he go ask Carlton, and he on the stairwell, like, why didn't you go in the room or something where nobody can hear y'all? But whatever. And then Carlton was like, oh, his son. And Will was like, he got a son? What? And he was like, yeah, but nobody talks about it. And Will like, obviously, like, what? So he was like, look, all I know is that, it's top secret. Like, we can't talk about it. It's crazy. I don't really know nothing else. Then, Jeffrey walked out. So they stopped talking, making it even more obvious that they talking about him. So later on, during the family reunion, after Jeffrey he tells Will everybody's names. He runs down the whole thing. That's Aunt so and so. That's Uncle such and such. Those are the cousins. Those are kids. He going back and look at them pictures again. Will come find him and he like, look, I wanted to talk to you. And Jeffrey was like, here, that's my son. Like he told him. And he was like, I didn't want you to judge me. And Will was like, only one way to find out. So he tell him everything, and I did appreciate that because he was like, I thought we always kept it real with each other. Like, we do keep it real, but I don't got to tell you every little thing. I mean, goodness. But he ended up telling him the story. He was like, he was a hustler in the UK. When he was in London, he was running in them streets. And so to protect his family, like, he ended up having to leave and to come to the States, start a new life. And the responsibility of being a single mother was too much on Frederick's biological mother. So she gave him up for an adoption. It was a closed adoption. But he asked Uncle Phil to keep an eye on his son, make sure he's raised right. And yeah, so that's why Uncle Phil won't tell him the information because he asked him not to ultimately. And he knows that because of his past, it could put the boy in danger or the man in danger. But Will was like, look, You talking to him is better than him like sitting here trying to figure out or wonder or guess or put stories together himself. It's better if he hear it from you, and he'll find out what a great man you are, and he'd be proud to call you his dad. And we know Will, that was really heartfelt because he has his issues with his own dad. So, you know, he's a sensitive soul. He wants to make sure that he takes care of the people he cares about. So later on, he goes up to Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil, and he tells them like, we gotta help Jeffrey find his son. Like, it must be done. And they ain't even argue with him. They was like, you right, you sure right. So I can't wait to find out what Frederick got to say. And yeah, I want Jeffrey to have like Jeffrey ain't no butler. This ain't Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, okay? But I want him to have like a love life. I want all that for Jeffrey. Moving on, we got who we got next? I don't know who y'all want to do. Let's do Carlton. So Carlton, we start off the episode. He lifting weights and he doing all that stuff. And I've said, well, what you do with that sugar boogie you had last week? Where's that powder? But I guess we ain't gonna touch on it. I guess he ain't do it because we ain't even like circle back around it or nothing. It's gonna come back up, it is. But he was lifting weights, getting his reps in. And then Will walk in and he was like, what's going on? Like, what you doing all that for? And he was like, look, it get real competitive. I got a football game coming up. It's flag football. Like, the family reunion ain't no joke. It's real competitive. So then when all the family comes, we see Uncle Phil's brother, who's played by Bill Bellamy, and his son, who's short like Carlton. And so the cousins are competing. They going back and forth like, oh, I played lacrosse. We went to the playoffs. And the cousin was like, well, we went to the States. And it was like, because Bill was like, oh, talking to the cousin, like, oh, you've grown so much. He looked at Carlton like, but you didn't. And I said, I'm going to be able to beat you today. And it's like the dads are putting their sons against each other. Like, the cousins probably wouldn't have had no beef if it wasn't for the fact that they dads are always in competition. So, but they have a lot more in common than they don't. Besides sports, it's like, and the fact that they're short, it's like their dads are pushing them, like, because they were playing dominoes, and cousin had made a mistake. And so Bill Bellamy was like, come on now, pay attention. Like, I told you about that. Like, you got to pay attention. And then, he was feeling down about himself. Like, I just made a mistake. Like, my bad. And so the cousin ended up coming to Carlton's room. Carlton was on the Xbox. And he like, the dads are even more competitive now than they was before. And it was like, but you know how it is, making us feel like we ain't good enough. Like, we're never doing good enough. We're always trying to do more, or if we make one little mistake, like, they gonna ride our backs. And so they had that commonality. And Carlton was like, you know what, you play? And he was playing Mortal Kombat, and they had a bonding moment. I like that. That made my, that gave me the warm and fuzzies, So he was like, look, you got LaMarcus on your team, so y'all gonna win, and my dad gonna tear me down, but I'm used to it. It is what it is. So they ended up playing the game. And they playing a game, and Uncle Phil's team is up. He make the pass to Carlton. Carlton catch it. But then he looked at, he heard Bill Bellamy yelling at his son, and he looked at the son with a disappointment on his face. And he dropped it. And he drops the ball. So Bill Bellamy's team wins the game. So, Carlton, it was crazy because Uncle Phil, he was like dapping up LaMarcus, like, thanks for trying, good job, man. But he looked over and Bill Bellamy was telling his son, like, oh, good job, I'm proud of you, I love you, or whatever. So he sacrificed, his own happy moment with his dad so that his cousin could have that moment. And even though it was so obvious, like, the way he dropped it was like clear as day that he did that on purpose. But I think that was a great moment, especially for them being cousins, because they was given like enemies with all this competition because of their dads. They don't even really got no beef. So, and later on, Uncle Phil, he had a conversation with his brother. We're going to get to that. And after he had the conversation with the brother, he was like, I know you wouldn't have missed that pass. And they looked over, and Bill Bellamy was like telling his son he loved him. And he was like, I'm really proud of you. No matter what, I always am going to bet on you. I always got your back. I always think you're going to win. And it made me think myself about my own son, because sometimes it is, as a parent, especially with sons, you can ride them and be like, listen, like, because you know their potential and what they can do, even when they don't see it themselves. But all that feels like is like they can feel like they're not good enough. They're not doing enough. When you just like, look, I just want you, I know you can do more. But it don't always come across that way. So it was good to see that on screen like that. We needed to see that. Speaking of that, Uncle Phil's mom come over. Now Aunt Viv, she already feeling overwhelmed. She tired with her own artwork and everything. She do a million trillion things, and then she still gotta be the backbone. She pretty much putting the whole thing together. But Uncle Phil getting all the credit. That's how it go though. Like the women do all the work, and the men come in after it's all done. And get the credit. But everybody they know who's really behind it. He like, look, you gotta get the spades game right. And she like, I don't really play spades, and you know how black people get when it comes to spades now. It be getting real competitive. That's how I am with Uno, because I don't know how to play spades. Don't take my black card. I don't know how to play. I have a black shirt on, but I don't. And I don't even want to, at this point in life, I don't even want to know, because it just, it's too much. It's stressful. Okay. I watch from the sides. But yeah, and then she picked up later on. She was picking up his phone because she greeting his mama and everything. And then she ended up picking up his phone, and she like, why is Erica, whatever her last name is, and we know who that is, the one he had lunch with, who it looked like that might have been his ex. We wasn't sure, but she's like, why is Erica calling you? And he's like, oh, well, I wasn't gonna. She want me to come work at her firm, but I didn't do anything. That's why I didn't tell you. I already knew it was gonna come out. I done told y'all on reviews before. You don't got to go through no man's phone or nothing. Like, if something done in the dark, it's gonna come to the light. And it did. She ain't go searching. He left his phone. It was ringing. She picked it up and Erica's number popped up. It will fall into your lap, okay? So she like, okay, y'all don't try to brush it off like it ain't no big thing. Y'all was together in college. So we gonna find out more about that. Because he was like, oh, well, and it's not like that. Like, if y'all was in a relationship, it was like that, okay? Because I thought they met in college, too. Sounds messy. But later on, she was, showing family members her art. And he was like, I need my teammate for spades. And she's like, oh, I'm your teammate now. So he apologizes about not telling him about his ex, and that he said, look, she wants me to work at the law firm, but I don't know. He didn't go into detail about how they was having lunch and talking about what's been up with you. He didn't give enough detail for me. And now I don't trust you because you're sneaky. But she ended up playing spades. She playing it off like, oh, I don't know what to do. She ended up winning. But so she won the game for him. They won together because they teammates, right? And then after that, they're having fun. Then his mom, her mother-in-law, pulls him to the side. She was like, look, because she mentioned Uncle Phil's dad. He passed. That's how they set it up. He passed away. So she was like, look, I know you miss him. I know you miss your husband. And she was like, I do. And now when I think back, I don't remember all the arguments we had. I don't remember the disagreements. I don't remember none of that stuff. It's not important. When I go back and remember, I remember family, us spending time together, us having these moments together. Like, I that's what I remember, and that's what I miss. That's how it is. Like, you spend all your time being angry at each other. You look back like, man, them days we was sitting around arguing and beefing could have been time that we could have been making, happy memories together. So, but she was like, look, sometimes you gotta let that stuff go and just focus on the good times. And I think that's what Aunt Viv needed to hear, especially with that whole Erica situation. And she was like, look, later on when they were talking, she was like, I know she might be in our lives. Because Uncle Phil was like, I don't want to get rid of an opportunity that I may need, but I'm going to let you know about it every step of the way. So she going to stick beside him. That's what she going to do. I feel like more happened with her, but I can't quite remember off the top. So drop down in the comments if I missed something with Aunt Viv. Uncle Phil, he running the show. It's the reunions at his house. Last time I think the brother was running it, so he already competitive. We know about the football, like even with the sweet potato pie, because Hilary was sitting there like, Jazz ain't answering my calls. Like, oh my gosh, I'm about to go over there and see what's going on. And he like, that can wait. Bake my pie, because I got to win this competition. So Hillary was annoyed at that because when the competition came, she gave it to the uncle, Bill Bellamy, because she like, look, I'm tired of you. And then you want to invite LaMarcus? The audacity. So the brother, like when they playing dominoes, Will was talking to Bill Bellamy and he was explaining like, yeah, because he was talking about college, and he was like, well, that's Phil's lane. Like that's Phil. That's what he do. Me, I'm a businessman. I got multiple. I got like 10 different car dealers all across North Carolina because that's where Uncle Phil from, North Carolina. We knew that when we found out that he was in that fraternity last season. But he was like, "This is what I do. I started it in my 20s. I had all these dealerships. I did all these things, and I didn't have to have no education. It was my work that got me where I needed to be." So, they like competing about every little thing. Like they back and forth, and it's like, goodness, I know y'all brothers, but like the competition ain't even friendly no more. Because he even got mad at the mama when she was drinking so much that she caused them to lose the spades game. So after the win with the football game, he's sitting there icing his knee in Phil's office, and they talking, and he was just like, we two grown men, and we sitting up here competing. We having all this competition. What was we thinking? And Uncle Phil was like, look, it's always been that way. When we was little, you was trying to make your bed first, clean your room first, get dressed first, come down and eat breakfast first, and be first at everything. And he was like, well, I had to because I'm the older brother. But you the one that dad was loving, like you was big bro. Like I was looking up to you. And Uncle Phil was like, no, I'm always looking up to you. Because now you're the one that's helping mama. You're the one that's down there. You're the one that normally puts the family events together. That's why I wanted to really win at this, because you're the one that's there and you're present while I'm out here in Cali. You're doing everything. And Bill Bellamy was just like, look, ever since Denise passed, and I'm assuming Denise was his wife, that must not be with him anymore. He was like, I'm doing a single dad thing. Like, I don't have her. It's a lot on me. I'm wearing so many hats. I'm helping everybody. And Uncle Phil was like, why don't we share the load? Like, we're brothers. Like, let's do this together. Instead of trying to go at each other, we work better together. And they agreed on that. And so that was a nice, touching moment. I wish I had a sister that was close to my age that I could have a memory with like that. Because that was real. That was a nice, sweet moment. And that's what I like about Bel-Air. Like, because it is like, it's relatable to real life. But they was like, look, you looking up to me, and the whole time I'm looking up to you. So while you competing with me, I really want to, be like you. I want to be more involved from now, present day. And he's like, well, with the whole college thing, Dad always said, look, that's Phil's lane. Like, he was like, you can't, I don't think you gonna be able to go to college. No, I don't believe in you. That's what Phil gonna do. But he was like, I proved him wrong now. I ain't go to college, but I'm successful. And that's why he said it's Phil's lane. But I do agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. And I tell my kids this: you don't have to go to college. If you want to go to college and that's the path you want to take, that's great, and you can be successful. If you don't go to college and you have other aspirations, you can still be successful. There's not one direction or one way to get to success. So I absolutely believe in that wholeheartedly. But I thought that was great because them getting together, their boys got along and everybody got along. It was just overall a really great experience. I really wish I was close to my family and we would do family reunions all the time. But family it seemed like nowadays, like, do people still do family reunions like that? They had the t-shirts and everything, because Uncle Phil was like, I didn't think we was doing t-shirts this year. And it was like Bill Bellamy wanted to show his car business on the back of the shirt. That's why he made the shirts. If he put the money in the shirts and he ain't charge y'all, because normally they be charging them for them shirts. If he ain't charge y'all and all you gotta do is support his business, put shirt on. But I really thought it was really nice. Like, even because they was like, grandma had the kids with the collard greens. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all this. I done got lazy. I get the bag greens and but by the time I take all them stems out, I might as well just go ahead and get me a whole fresh collard green leaf and do it from scratch, because it is a lot of work. But they were doing that. Mama was like, oh, we doing a fish fry. And Viv was like, I ain't hearing nothing about no fish fry. And she was like, child, please. This is a family reunion. We doing a fish fry. I need all that. I need sweet tea. They from the South, honey. I need white bread, corn. She's like, I need corn oil, I need flour, seasoning salt, I need a whole nine. But I mean, it really gave, like nostalgia, like back in the 90s type vibes with family reunions and things like that. So they played, they had games, everybody got along. Let me know what y'all think about the episode. Like I said, I'm running off the top. So if I missed something, let me know. If y'all wanted me to keep going with Bel-Air, let me know. I'm going to keep it coming. Do y'all think Hilary is going to get back with LaMarcus? I don't. But I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind. But I don't want Jazz's character to go away. I need Jazz's character to stay. So what's going on with Carlton? Because Will, I forgot to mention that, Will said, look, I'm going to keep going. Like, I'm going to be competing with you for that award. And Carlton ended up coming around like, well, let the best man win. Like, it's going to be whoever wins, wins. I don't feel away no more. So, who y'all think gonna win? Do you think he gonna get stressed out and rely on that stuff? Or do you think he off of it for good? Y'all let me know down in the comments. Will Uncle Phil get back, what Erica calls a mess? Either way, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my content. Like the video, comment, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.